Welcome to the Catholic Sobriety Podcast Minisode. These shorter episodes provide quick tips and information that you can refer back to when you need it most, so you can achieve and maintain your desired level of sobriety. I am your sobriety coach and host of this podcast, Christy Walker. Let's get started. If you've been listening for a while, you may have noticed that I don't really have kind of a rhyme or reason or a format that I follow when doing these episodes, but all that's changing now. I actually want to have these minisodes be concise and be coach focused. So I'm going to invite you to send in your questions or any issues you're dealing with. So it'll be a question. It'll be some tips that I have, and then some action steps. Those are going to be the three pillars of these minisodes. I'm going to take a question that came up in a coaching session with a client, or a question someone has sent to me. You can send in your questions and comments by using the send text link in my podcast show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. If you're listening to this on a podcast listening app, if you go to the show notes, there will be a link that says send a text. I can't respond to the text, but you can send me your questions, your comments, etc. Now, if you have something that you would like a response from me on, I would be happy to do that. You can find me on Instagram at the Catholic Sobriety Coach. You can go to YouTube and add comments. You can contact me from my website. Today's question is, what should I do before going to an event? I have 3 things that you should do before going to an event. The first thing you should do is pray. And the reason why you want to pray first is obviously it kind of puts us in that right mindset. It calms us. We are inviting the Holy Spirit in as we work on the other 2 steps. You can do it any way you want. Like you could just say quick prayer. You could say a rosary. You could do Lectio Divina. There's so many things that you can do. Whatever feels the most doable for you, do that. It doesn't have to take a long time. It can be a quick prayer like, Dear Lord, I am planning on going to an event. I ask you to pour forth your graces and strengthen my spiritual gifts so that I can keep my commitment to not drink or drink less or not at all. The first thing is pray. The second P is prepare. The first thing I want you to do is visualize how you want to show up at that event. Think about from beginning to end, what you want to happen and the person you want to be at that event. Think about what you're wearing, who you might be talking to, what questions could come up. Start to think how you want to be perceived, how you want to answer questions, and all those kinds of things. So just start by visualizing the person you want to be at that event. Then think from beginning to end of the event. This is what I usually work on with my clients. Like we go through the whole event and all the different things that could come up, but just think through the event and what could happen. One of the things that could happen is you could get to your table and there might be wine on the table and there could be wine glasses. Something that I usually suggest is if you are sitting at a table and there's a wine glass in front of you, just turn it upside down. I always do this. Like when I go to a restaurant or if I'm at an event and there's a wine glass, I just turn it over. Typically, the wait staff will come and remove that glass. It's just a signal to them that I'm not drinking. So that's one thing that you can think about. Like, what am I going to do if I sit down, there's a glass and you can think about what you want to drink. Do you want to be the one that goes up to the bar to grab your non-alcoholic beverage, or would you like to ask someone else to do that for you? Would that be more comfortable? Sometimes my husband will go up and get me a drink, and it's not that I can't I just think it's easier because he's going up there. Think about those things again, who might be there, what they might say. Maybe think about what would be the worst thing that somebody could say to me? What could it be? Because then you can formulate how you would want to respond to that in that situation. Now, that's probably not going to happen, but at least you have prepared your mind for it. And what I find for me and for my clients is that kind of relieves that anxiety because it's like, okay, now I'm not going to be caught off guard. I know how I want to respond. And the third P is plan. So you're going to make your plan. A plan could be how you're going to get your drink, who is going to be there, what you want to drink, what you want to say if somebody offers you alcoholic beverage, and those types of things. I also recommend two things. Having an exit plan. That way, if you are feeling uncomfortable and you want to leave, you have a way to get out. One of my clients, when she was going to an event where she might have a lot of anxiety, we talked through how she might want to ask her husband or something that she could say that would alert him to the fact that she was ready to go, like she didn't want to be there anymore. And I usually encourage that. Always have like an exit strategy for when you're uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Like you can be uncomfortable. So I don't want you to not allow yourself to be uncomfortable. But if it gets to the point where you're so uncomfortable that you're afraid that you're going to drink, that is when it's good to have an exit strategy and leave. And then the other thing that I suggest planning for is have a plan for if you're feeling anxious or uncomfortable, but it's not at the point for wanting to leave. Like, do you want to walk around? Do you want to go to the ladies' room? Think up some things that you can do that might help with that. I used to have a friend is a knitter, and it might seem silly to take out your knitting at an event, but for her, it was like this stress relief that she liked to do. So she took it everywhere with her. So you can maybe have something like that in your purse. You can pull it out and be under the table knitting. That sounds crazy, but honestly, who cares? I just think that it's good to have something. If you want some kind of a fidget thing, or putting in like an AirPod with like some calming music. I don't know. It's based on your comfort level and what will help you get through things. So the 3 Ps for the question, what should I do before going to an event? You're going to pray by inviting the Holy Spirit in as you start to work on the plan for this event. 2 is you are going to prepare by visualizing the person you want to be at that event and thinking through from beginning to end what obstacles, triggers you might encounter. And the 3rd is to have an action plan. I find that it's really helpful to write it out. If this happens, then this. If this happens, then this. And that way it's very clear in your mind. And if you want to fold it up and put it in your pocket or your purse, then go ahead and do that. Now, I did promise you an action step at the end. So what I would love you to do is if you have an event coming up, try this out. Try it out right now. Pray, prepare, and then plan. And then after you go to the event, see how that went for you. The beauty of this is that the more we go to these events or have outings, we will find that some things worked and some things didn't. You keep tweaking it. It's not going to necessarily be perfect the first time. You might say, oh, I wish that I would have done this instead of this, or next time I'm definitely going to do this. That's how you start to develop and refine your plans. Eventually, you may not even need to make a plan beforehand. I just think it's always good to be prepared. Now, if you don't have an event coming up, think of an event that you've been to and plan how you would plan it as if it were coming up in the next day or so. Do that and let me know how it goes. You can DM me on Instagram or you can send me the text, my show notes, or comment if you're on YouTube. I can't wait to hear from you. Well, that wraps up today's episode of the Catholic Sobriety Minisode. Thank you so much for joining me, and please be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss a thing. And remember, I am here for you. I am praying for you. You are not alone.